Well, good morning, everybody. Another beautiful day in the mountains of North Carolina. I just got dropped off by Willow from the Grove Hostel in Franklin, and had a great stop there in Franklin. Albeit, I guess if I had one regret, it's that I only stayed one night. Both Willow and her partner Bloobs are through hikers and brand new owners of the hostel, and they know exactly what through hikers need. It's a very comfortable stay. I just stayed in the bunk and very much had a great night's sleep there. She was very accommodating, took me out to Ingles grocery store yesterday. I was able to get some food and just a little bit of resupply. I didn't need much, and brought me back to trail this morning, so very accommodating. Also had the opportunity to get up a little earlier. I made it down to the Country Kitchen, which is an iconic breakfast place there in Franklin. In fact, of course, I was there a little early, as I usually am everywhere, and I was the first in line, but by the time they opened the doors, I think there was 14 people lined up to go in. Yeah, it's amazing, but they do a great job. In fact, it's highly unusual for me, but I did not eat everything on the plate. I had 2 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon with some sausage gravy and 2 pancakes. By the time I got to the pancakes, 1 pancake would have been plenty, to be honest with you. It was all really, really good. So, needless to say, I definitely enjoyed my stay in Franklin. Franklin is probably one of my favorite trail towns. And again, if I'd stayed 2 days, I would have definitely went downtown and went to the Outfitter. They have a big poster there at the Outfitter for 2025 through hikers. And as you come through, you sign that poster. I signed that poster back in February, and I would have loved to gone in there and see how it's now all filled up, I'm sure. But just have to go back on another day. But again, real nice visit there in Franklin, and enjoyed my stay at the Grove. So what about today? What are we going to do? So today's going to be a little bit longer. I think it's around a 16-mile hike, and we've got a number of ups and downs. One of them is coming from the parking lot right now, and we've got some kind of cool things that we're going to accomplish today. We'll cross over the 100-mile mark today at Albert Mountain. We'll cross over Albert Mountain, which is where the 100-mile mark is, and everything after that's going to be just double digits, right, till we get finished up in Georgia. So that's pretty good. In fact, I'd say that's probably the biggest and most exciting thing that we'll do today. And we're going to have some views too as we head toward Carter Gap. My intent is to probably camp at the Carter Gap shelter, so we'll talk more about that as we get closer. So that's enough talking. Let's get back to walking, and hope everybody has a awesome day. And as I see anything cool down the trail, I'll be the first to share it with you. All right, everybody, I haven't really come very far. The sun is bright and warming things up. Probably a mile and a half or so into today, I got a little bit of a signal and stopped because I can't move. I'll lose the signal. And called my wife, talked to her for a little while. But I just remembered that this little stretch here, I think it's 3.7 miles, as I recall, between where I was dropped off at winding stair gap over to the next gap, which is Rock Gap. It's 3.7 miles. Several years ago, I don't know, it's probably 10 years now, I walked this with my wife and my mom and dad. So both of them are, well, my dad's 85 and my mom will be 85 here in just a couple of weeks. And they did pretty good, you know. So we enjoyed our time here in Franklin that day, and we got here and did some hiking. We hiked this exact same trail, albeit we were going the other direction, but it was a good day here in Franklin several years ago. It's funny how you just reflect back on things you hadn't thought about in a long while. But overall, today's going really well. I'm glad to see this section of trail has been a lot more cleaner. All this has been cut and cleaned up by trail maintainers. Thank you, trail maintainers. Appreciate your work. It makes it a lot easier when you're not walking through tall weeds and things, worried about ticks and chiggers and things like that. So yeah, we're making okay progress. Not really smoking it today, but we are we're just simply headed to a campsite. If I get there at 5:30 or 6:30, it really doesn't matter, does it? So nobody's waiting on me today, so it's not a big deal. So we're just going to enjoy the trail, hopefully get some views. I'm sure we'll get some nice views at Albert Mountain today, and just keep on pressing on. Hope y'all have a good morning. We'll talk to you a little further down the path. All right, everybody, we've made some pretty good progress today, I think. We're probably, I'd say, around 9 miles in for today. And our next big destination is this one, Albert Mountain. It's a half a mile yet. That's a really important spot for a number of reasons. Should have some good views is one reason. And then tomorrow, I'm hoping really we have similar good weather, and we should cross over Standing Indian, and Standing Indian also has really beautiful views. So look forward to both of those for sure. So, but today is it's all about Albert Mountain. I think it's going to be our high point for today. And look at this trail. I'll tell you what, if I lived in the Franklin area, I'd just come out here and walk this. It's about as smooth as the park at which I typically walk at home, and but it has some, obviously some ups and downs, and you're surrounded by beautiful rhododendrons. I'm sure they're all nice and bloomed earlier in the summer or late spring. So it's a great place to be. Wide trail, and be a great place just to walk on a regular basis. So anyway, we've got half a mile up to Albert Mountain. So I don't know how much more up there is, really, probably a little bit. And then it's known for its down, or the other side of Albert Mountain. Actually, it's first kind of vertical climbing, rock kind of climbing that most new through hikers encounter when they're coming north. So I don't think it'll be too scary compared to some of the stuff I've seen in New Hampshire, but it's still something that's pretty considerable. All right, let's get them down the path. All right, everybody, we've made it to the top of Albert Mountain. So almost 10 miles so far for today, meaning we have about 6 miles left for this hike today. So we're going to do 16. So this is the Albert Mountain Fire Tower. You probably can't tell it from here, but it's locked up top. You could climb up a few steps if you felt like you could get a better view if you did. I'm not going to climb this one because I can't get all the way to the top, and I don't know if a few steps is going to make a huge difference in the view, because I think your view is going to be pretty much the same. Every time I've ever been here, it's been locked, so I think it just stays locked. But this is kind of what it looked like. And there is a number of mountains out in the distance. I don't really recognize any of them, to be honest with you, that are of significance to the trail, I would say. Mountains that you would typically climb. So anyway, this is the view. A little cloudy today, a little overcast, but it's really not blocking. The clouds are not blocking the mountains. You can see the mountains. They're just like hovering right on top of the mountains when you get out there in the middle. So it's a pretty good view, and there's not a view off the other side. Unfortunately, it's just this view from here, which is quite a view. And I bet you during the fall, when all these leaves turn, all those rolling green hills down there below us turn red and yellow and brown, it'd be quite pretty. There's another reason why Albert Mountain is significant to us. You ready for it? Oh, this is the 100-mile mark on the Appalachian Trail. So everything from here on out is going to be double digits, not triple digits. So I won't have to go far, and I'll be in the 90s. 99, 98, 97, 96, counting down on the way to Springer Mountain, Georgia. So yeah, I look forward to that. So it's pretty awesome. So Albert Mountain, happy to be here, and it is a significant milestone. We've been counting 100-mile milestones, oh well, what, 21 times now. And now we're out of them. We don't have any more to count. So, all right, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. I'm gonna sit down here. It's just a few minutes after 12, and I'm gonna have some lunch, and I'm gonna make my way further south into those 90s, the 90-mile areas, those double digits, and have a great day. We'll look forward to catching up with you a little bit further down the path. All right, everybody, we're kind of coming to some of that rocky downhill that I referenced earlier as kind of the first exposure that many of the new northbound through hikers would first encounter at mile 100. Yeah, it starts to look kind of familiar. Some of the stuff you might see up in the northeast for sure. And it absolutely would be no fun to be on this rock if it was wet. And I love how the people who developed a trail here went ahead and cut out some foot steps into the rock itself. It's pretty cool. further. The weather has been just so nice. When I stopped to have lunch, I had to put my jacket on because I was, I was maybe a little bit sweaty, not too much, but I was getting cool, sitting still. Fall is in the air. I am ready for football. I love college football season. I like watching pros too, but the college football season, particularly in the SEC, is, it's something to behold, that's for sure. People get crazy. And it's makes for real enjoyable Saturdays, I'll say. Particularly if your team is winning. So here's one example of some of the rocks that you're climbing. A few more spots you wouldn't want to be on if it was wet. It's not wet. I'm gonna walk all the way down it. And I think right down here is probably the more steeper spot. We'll check it out real quick. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Kind of steep, for sure. All right, just want to give you an example of what it's like to climb up if you had to come this way to Albert Mountain. Still coming off Albert Mountain. You can see it is pretty darn steep. It's not it doesn't last a long time. It's not like you're doing this all day. It's pretty short, but it's definitely steep. There's no question about that. To me, this might be some of the worst of it. That looks familiar, doesn't it? So that would be level. That is down. That's where we came from. That's where we're going. Good afternoon, everybody. Just want to give you a little bit of status update. I checked the app and to measure my progress, and we're currently 1.7 miles from Carter's Gap Shelter, and that's our destination. So be less than 2 hours we should be there, or excuse me, less than 1 hour and we should be there, no problem. Just noticed that we have a potential view, and I was about to say we really haven't had a lot of views today. I thought we'd have a few more, but outside of Albert Mountain. Wow, we got one here for sure. I'm glad that they cut this path through all these laurels and rhododendrons to open up this spot where you can see. This is awesome. Check it out. It's a beauty. I'm about as high as I can go. There is some undergrowth here that's making it hard to get above. Let's zoom out there. You see, looks like maybe a farming community there. Big properties that's been cleared, meadows. It's pretty. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and press on, heading towards Carter's Gap Shelter. All right, everybody. We have made it to the Carter Gap Shelter. I like the little bench that's been built into that. That's kind of cool. And there's also one on the other side. There's your place to sit down. It's a small shelter. Sleeps, reportedly sleeps 6, but I think 6 would be pretty tight in here for sure. I will tell you that I stayed in here probably 5-6 years ago, and it's going to be a huge rain that night, and there was. But the one thing I learned about this shelter, which is you're getting some indications here, is that it was at the time pretty full of mice. I mean, on the metal roof, I was hearing just running everywhere, and this place was the mice ran the shelter. They were in charge. That's for sure. So, I do not believe, although it is cloudy and overcast, I don't believe that there's any significant rain in the forecast for this evening. So for that reason, I'll be pitching my tent. Now, I have seen some recent reports saying that the mice population is down here, and somebody just most recently said they saw one mouse, sorry. So that's good to know, but if I don't have to stay in the shelter, I'd prefer not to stay in the shelter. And that's just the way it is. So I'm gonna go down and see if I can find a flat spot. I know there used to be some down in this area where people would tent. They did that night when I was here, so I'm gonna check that out and see if that's an opportunity for me. And I'll come back to you as soon as I have found the place for my home for the evening. All right, everybody. Welcome to our home for the evening. Yes, have I think a really good spot. It's probably the flattest spot that I might have ever found before. And it's got a little bit of a cover there of the rhododendron above it. I think it's kind of cool. Don't think I'll need the cover, but it's kind of cool. And I believe, I haven't checked, but I think those blue blazes right there are leading down to the water source. So all is good here. The shelter itself is way up on that hill, and it's so grown up around here. I mean, there's just so much stuff. But yeah, I don't really necessarily need to be near the shelter. It's not offering me anything, and so I'm happy to be here, and I think I'm actually closer to the water, and it's gonna be a good spot. And right here is the trail. So when I get up in the morning, I'll be headed right that direction. Out of the tent, Boom, we're gone. Heading south. So overall, a good day, I think. Making miles. Did 16 miles from Winding Stair Gap over here to Carter's Gap. And tomorrow's a little shorter day. You know, I think I might have said we had from Franklin to where I'd get picked up for the next hostel near Hiawassee was 40 miles. So the way I've gotten that broken up generally is 16 miles today, 14 miles tomorrow. That makes 30, and then the final 10 will be into the gap, Dix Creek Gap, where I'd get picked up. So we're going to get progressively easier here in the next couple of days. So, and then, but the day after that is a tough day. So I need the break up front before that day starts. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to that. So that's the plan. I appreciate y'all following along. It's been a good day for me. We've had some pretty decent views and made some really good miles. So, and we executed the plan, which anytime we execute a plan, it's a good day for me. So hope y'all have a great evening. We'll look forward to catching up with you first thing in the morning.